Hey guys, it's Tron Hero of the Grid here. I decided to do something a lot of people are doing, well, actually only two that I know of so far, three counting me, which is reviewing the Tron Uprising series. And before I get that started, I want you guys to meet a good friend of mine, Penny, which I mentioned in my How to Draw a Cat video. I told you guys that I love her. Whoa, yeah, she hates me. I can't even pet her without her pawing back at me. Anyway, say hi. I don't think she wants to say hi. So I'm just going to leave her alone. Oh, and my mom made this quilt. And she did a lovely job, by the way. This is all hand done and everything. But back to the main subject, which is reviewing this episode. I'm going to go through all 7 episodes as fast as I possibly can. So, let me close the door to keep out all background noise from Dad watching TV and stuff. So, okay. So, and let me start my music, which I hold so dear. So it all starts with the prologue episode, which aired on Disney and also Disney XD. But this was the only episode on Disney that they played. But it all starts with let me scooch up some. It all starts with a Beck getting caught by a blackguard who turns out to be Tron a little bit later. But so Beck gets interrogated by Tron in the blackguard disguise. And not everybody, okay. I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm freaking out. Okay, I'm good. Beck gets interrogated and we find out how he got caught. And it turns out Beck got caught because of, turns out that, the adventure really actually starts when, excuse me, when Tesla takes over his city for the occupation, which was led by Clue, also known as Codified Likeness Utility. Anyway, so in the process of Tesla taking over, Beck's friend Bodhi gets killed, and this makes Beck feel upset and angry, and he blames Clue and everything. And so he decides to start a revolution, basically. And when he starts this revolution, he gets into all kinds of trouble, fight scenes and chase scenes, which are all spectacular. And we kind of learn how he ended up in the Outlands where Tron captured him. And the episode was actually really good. I have only 1 or 2 complaints, which was Beck and I like that the episode was fast-paced, but Beck and Bodhi's relationship could have been a little more, longer, so we can get to know how much Beck is really good friends with Bodhi and stuff. But they decided to only have us meet Bodhi for 1 or 2 minutes and then destroy him. So there you have it. The second episode is about Beck getting captured for the games, and meeting a program named Cutler, and them trying to get out of the games and stuff, and just kind of kicks off Beck's revolution. Well, it was kind of in the first episode that kicked it off, but I mean with him training with Tron and stuff. And what I didn't like is, no, actually, never mind. And so 2 episodes were about that. It was a 2-part episode, The Renegade Part 1 and 2. And the next one was called Blackout, where General Tesla was drilling for energy with like an oil, like what we would use to drill for oil and stuff. I'm sorry the song starts over, my computer messes up that sometimes. But anyway, so General Tesla is drilling for energy with an oil drill type thing, and if he hits the energy core, it will blow up basically the whole grid, and Beck needs to blow it up before it hits the energy core and blows up on its own, or else that'd be an explosion big enough to destroy the grid, like I said. But apparently, like Uber Hikari said, if Beck blows it up before it blows itself up, it won't make such a big explosion. Which, that was my complaint, was they didn't quite explain why. But the subplot was his friend Zed getting in a race with these 2 programs who I think are jerks. They're Bartik and Hopper. And so he was going to race these two programs, Bartik and Hopper, in the tunnels that ran under the Latlands, which happened to also run under the drill, which Beck was going to blow up. And so basically Zed was in danger, and so Beck had to kind of save the grid and also his friends at the same time. So it was a pretty tense episode. So that's the basics of that episode. And then there's episode 5 called Identity. And it's kind of like giving us a break from Beck's original problem. You know, sometimes TV series do that. They give you your main problem for a few episodes, and then they might take 1 or 2 episodes to kind of give you a break of that conflict, like Identity did. Instead of Beck's main conflict, which is fighting Tesla, instead this conflict is his disc gets stolen. And apparently when on the disc, I know this, I'm a Tron fan, I watched every possible thing from Tron. But their disc is linked to their mind, basically. It's not only a weapon, but it's also linked to their mind, and it records their memories and everything. And apparently, if you lose your disc, you lose your mind. And so Beck was kind of doing that throughout the episode. He would get these. So they go to this sort of slum called Purgos, which is which I found interesting, and also Uber Hikari found interesting too. Memory serves that this was the original settlement of Argon City, and then after the war, like Tron said, it's a junk heap. So anyway, so they go to Purgos looking for Beck's disc, because that's where all kinds of pawn shops with stolen items are. And there's all kinds of turns in the plot and tricks that happen, and they get deceived, and Beck nearly loses all his mind and stuff, and it's just kind of a crazy episode. And like I said, it kind of gave us a break from the main conflict. What me and my sister, who's a writer, complained about was that it didn't work much on Beck's relationship with that female program named Lux. They didn't quite develop on that, and so it made no sense that Beck was freaking out when she was getting derezzed, and he was acting like he's known her for hundreds of cycles, yet he's only known her for probably half a cycle, which was that episode. Anyway, so episode 6 was called Isolated, and it was kind of back to where our main conflict. And in this episode, I'm going to change the song because I'm getting tired of the song. And it's almost over anyway. So we're kind of back to the main conflict. So Beck steals a cube, sort of like a cube, and apparently has all the access codes to General Tesla's base and all his bases and whatnot. And Beck steals it, and he's trying to make a daring escape, and Paige blasts him out of the sky, and they land on an island in the middle of the sea of simulation, which I like linking the different Tron stuff together, like all the different stuff. I linked this together with Tron Betrayal. In Tron Betrayal, Clue poisons the sea of simulation, which the ISOs were born out of. So he poisons the sea of simulation to stop the ISOs from coming, and then he does the purge and he kills them all out, except for Quora, of course, like we see in Legacy. But he poisons the sea of simulation, so it's poisonous to programs. And like the original Tron site had said, the sea of simulation will actually dissolve a program and kind of turn him into part of the grid. So like I said, I linked it to Betrayal, and it was poisoned. But when Beck crashed into the island, and Paige crashed into the island as well, because her flying ship got damaged, they basically have to survive together on this island, and this island is also crumbling from their crash. The crash was big enough to make it crumble. So they have to work together and survive on this island, even though they're basically mortal enemies, and work together. And what I found interesting in this episode was Cora was in it from Tron Legacy, which I thought was great. And they used Olivia Wilde like they did in the movie too, which I also thought was spectacular. And so, there you go. But we learned a lot about Paige's past. I won't ruin it for you guys who haven't seen it yet, but we learn about Paige's really tough, evil girl's past. And we kind of find out that Tesla kind of made her that way. He didn't rectify her like they did in the movie. He just did something that made her, and did and said something that made her that way. So, there you go. That was episode 6. I don't have too many complaints about this. In fact, I think I have 0 complaints about this episode. Anyway, I'm going to make this one part, and I'm going to make the next part here in a few minutes because I really don't want to take 5 hours to upload one video. So, I'm going to stop this right now, and I will do the second part here in a few minutes. Thank you.